Hey guys, this is God of Politics. Welcome to a brand new video, but before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I'm going to be updating my governor elections predictions. The last time I did this video was March 21st. Today's date is now April 21st, and I am going to be updating my predictions because there have been some new candidates that have entered the race in some very important states. There are some ratings changes that I have to do, and overall, I think it's a good thing to be updating these predictions once a month, and you guys seem to enjoy these videos, so I'm going to continue to do them. So, as always, we start off with the safe Republican states. As you can see here, there are 7 Republican seats not up for re-election and 5 Democratic seats not up for re-election. The Democratic seats are Washington, Louisiana, Delaware, North Carolina, and Kentucky. The Republicans have Indiana, West Virginia, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Montana, and Utah. But for the seats that are up for re-election, these seats I am rating as safe Republican, going to the Republican Party by more than 10 percentage points. I am putting Idaho, of course, at a safe Republican state, Wyoming, Alaska, South Dakota, I'm going to put it safe. It could be likely if Billy Sutton runs. He did run in 2018 and he came within 4 percentage points. So that was a very good result for him, but of course that was 2018 and that was an open seat. So we would see a different scenario if he were to run again, but he has not entered the race yet, and I'm not exactly too sure that he will. So as of now, I'm going to put that as a safe seat. Nebraska, I'm also putting at safe Republican. Oklahoma is also going to be a safe Republican state. Alabama is also going to be a safe Republican state. Arkansas, with the term-limited governor Asa Hutchinson, who has been in the news lately, is also going to have a safe seat, or he's term-limited. It's probably going to be Sarah Huckabee Sanders running for that seat, but it will be safe. Tennessee is also going to be safe. South Carolina is also going to be safe, of course. As well as Vermont's going to be safe because I assume Phil Scott will be running again. Massachusetts will also be safe with Charlie Baker, assuming he does run again. I don't expect Chris Sununu to run again. I do anticipate that he will run for governor, so we're going to base it off that assumption, at least for now. Now, that is 12 safe Republican seats for the Republicans. Now, for the Democrats, I do think they'll win California by a safe margin. Newsom's not going anywhere because of this recall. I think, if anything, he's going to get more popular as a result of it, and he's going to cruise into 2022 with a record victory for Democrats in the state of California, who have just been improving and improving for the last couple of decades, really. Colorado is probably also going to be a safe state as well with Jared Polis. He's not going to have any trouble winning. Same thing with New Mexico. I expect that to be a safe state as well. Those are 2 states in 2018 Democrats had no trouble winning, and I think maybe they go slightly below 10 percentage points in 2022, but it's not going to be much of an issue at all. Hawaii is also going to be a safe state there. Illinois is going to be a safe state as well. Virginia, I'm probably going to leave not at likely for now, so I'm not going to put it in safe. Maryland's going to be a safe state. The lieutenant governor of Maryland said that he's not going to run, and you've got the comptroller Peter Franchot running. He's going to win very easily. He won by like over 40 points in his comptroller race in 2018, so he's not going to have any problem winning. New Jersey is going to be a safe state. New York is going to be a safe state. And Rhode Island is also going to be a safe state. So that is 9 safe seats for the Democratic Party and 12 safe seats for the Republican Party. As you can see here, Republicans are already at 19 seats, 25 to get a majority. Of course, they don't act as a one governing unit, legislature or anything like that. But it is still important, I guess, to have as many seats as you want, as the party wants. Now, the likely states, I'm first going to start with the state of Texas. I do think that Texas is a likely margin state. There was actually a recent poll that showed Matthew McConaughey up like 12 points ahead of Greg Abbott. I don't know, whether that'll actually happen. I don't know whether he's even going to run, but that would certainly be an interesting matchup. I think he'd probably run as an independent, which would be quite interesting. But as for right now, I'm still going to rate it as likely because we don't know if he's going to run. If it's a Democrat versus a Republican, probably going to be likely Republican. Beto O'Rourke said he wasn't going to run. That does help Democrats in some ways, also hurts them in some ways, but, we will see who ends up running for this race. Probably nobody important, probably could end up being in a safe margin, but we will see what happens. Now, I also think that Ohio is going to be a safe Republican state. I don't think that the current governor is really going to have much problem at all. Mike DeWine, I mean, sure, many of the Trump people, the more pro-Trump people don't like him. They call him a rhino, things like that. But it's Ohio now. Ohio's been trending very Republican, and he's not going to have much trouble winning at all unless he does lose a primary, but I don't see that happening. Now, those are actually all of the likely margin states for the Republican Party, so now we'll move on to the likely margin states for the Democrats, and I can tell you that there are going to be more than 2 of them. Now, Oregon I'm going to put as a likely margin state. It has actually had closer gubernatorial elections in the past. The election in 2018 was actually only about a 7-point race, so I do think that given it's an open seat, given it may be a more favorable year for Republicans, you could see a closer race, maybe a 7 or 8 point race, but it's certainly going to go to the Democrats. Now, Connecticut, I'm also going to put it at a likely margin because the best candidate for the Republicans, I believe she was the mayor of New London, said that she wasn't going to run, and now Republicans really don't have the best candidate to run in this race, and I know that Connecticut elections have been razor thin in the past and been many elections in the past, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily that close this time. I think it'll be within 10 points, but I don't think it's going to be too competitive for the Republican Party. Virginia, I'm also going to put as a likely margin state. Virginia is a state where Democrats have done increasingly well over the past couple of years, and you've got Terry McAuliffe, who has virtually, already gotten the nomination for the Democrats. And looking at the state of the Republican Party in Virginia, he's probably not going to have a very good opponent, and that's probably going to give him a likely margin victory, maybe even a safe margin if he does well, but I'm not ready to move it to a safe margin just yet. I also think that Maine is going to be a likely margin. Maybe you have some weird things going on in Maine where you've got multiple candidates running. The ranked choice voting changes stuff, but I'm not sure if that's going to have too much of an impact, so as of right now, I'm going to put it at a likely margin, probably a similar result to Joe Biden, except they will do better in Maine's 1st district and worse, or better in Maine's 2nd district and worse in Maine's 1st district, Now, Minnesota, I'm also probably going to put at a likely margin as well. Minnesota is a state where Democrats really do dominate the state effectively. They don't control the state Senate, but they do control both Senate seats. They control the governorship. They haven't lost a statewide election since 2006, and they haven't lost it at the presidential level since 1972. So they do dominate, and I think Tim Walz is going to have no problem winning in 2022, especially if he runs against someone like Mike Lindell, which would be quite interesting. He also might run against some other candidates, but we will see what happens. Maybe runs against Michelle Fischbach. The former lieutenant governor wasn't elected, but she was the lieutenant governor now, representative from the 7th congressional district. She could run, but I don't think she'll do too well. So after the likely margin states, we have the Democrats at 19 seats, Republicans at 21. Now, moving on to the lean margin states, you do have a lot of lean margin states. Now, first for the Republican Party, I think that Florida is going to be a lean margin state. Florida is a state where you've got Ron DeSantis, who's not the most popular governor. He's popular amongst Republicans for sure. Many people are propping him up to become the Republican candidate in 2024, but he's not too popular in his own state, around 50 to 55% approval rating, but Florida has trended to the right a little bit since the last election, especially with the trends that we've seen in Miami-Dade County with Latino voters, with Cuban voters especially. And I think that's going to help Ron DeSantis win. He's got a lot of opponents that may run against him. Nikki Fried, Charlie Crist, Gwen Graham. And they, could be decent candidates. Nikki Fried is the last statewide elected Democrat in Florida. She could win, but I really don't see it happening. I really, really don't see it happening. I would almost, say there's a 95% chance that that's not going to happen. I think Ron DeSantis will probably end up winning by 3 to 4 percentage points. Now, I'm also going to put Iowa as a lean margin state. Iowa is a state where you do have a governor who's actually not too popular. Kim Reynolds has really not gotten great approval ratings, and a lot of people are saying that she doesn't even deserve to be reelected to a second term. That attitude will probably change when you see the Democratic candidate. It becomes a probably nationalized race, to be honest. Maybe you run someone like Ron Sand for the Democrats, and he could end up winning, but I really don't see it happening for now. I'm going to rate this race as lean Republican. Kansas, I'm also going to rate as lean Republican. You do have the governor here right now who really got lucky in 2018 to run against Chris Kobach, and I don't think that she would have run if it had not been. She would have won if it had not been for Chris Kobach. In 2022, I don't think that she's going to get the same kind of luck, and I do think that she's probably going to end up losing. We actually did a candidate that just announced, I believe yesterday or the day before, that he is going to be running against the governor for this seat, and I do expect him to win. So that is all of the lean margin states that we've got. The Republicans are already at 24 seats. They need 25 for a majority. Now, the lean margin states for the Democrats, I think first Michigan's going to be a lean margin state. Michigan is a state where you've got Gretchen Whitmer, who at first I thought would do much better than lean, but we did see a couple of polls here showing her in only like a 1-point race, and you've got the COVID surge right now, which could make her more unpopular, but I do still expect her to win by a lean margin. Nevada's another state that I'm going to put at a lean margin. Nevada's like a titanium lean D state. I mean, you've got Democrats elected. Almost all of these statewide positions are Democrats, and I think that they could be all Democrats after the 2022 election, depending on what Adam Laxalt, the Secretary of State, does. He could run for governor and make this race closer, but as of now, I don't see really any Republican candidates being able to win this race, and so I'm going to put it at lean Democrat. Now, I'm also going to put New Hampshire at lean Democrat because the fundamentals of this state do favor the Democratic Party, at least at the state level, and the state has been trending towards the Democrats over a long period of time. Looking back compared to the 80s and 90s, even before that to now, the state has trended towards the Democratic Party, and so I do think that it is going to help them in terms of the fundamentals winning this race, but we're really going to have to see what the candidates look like to determine who's going to win this race. Now, as for the 10 Democratic states, I'm going to say Republicans are winning 3 of them, and Democrats are going to be winning 1 of them. Republicans are going to win Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona, flipping Wisconsin. Democrats flipping at Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania, or actually not flipping Pennsylvania, keeping Pennsylvania. They've effectively already got Josh Shapiro as the next governor of the state. I mean, he is the current attorney general, ran ahead of Joe Biden by 3 percentage points, already hinted that he's going to be running for governor, and I do expect him to be able to win this race. I don't know who the Republicans are going to run, but really the candidate doesn't look like it's going to be too good. Maybe they run someone like Doug Mastriano. They're certainly not going to do very well, but overall, this is, I think, I would say, maybe even a lead Democratic race, to be honest, because Democrats have dominated, at least in the past 2 elections at the gubernatorial level. As for Georgia, this could be a very interesting race because you've got Brian Kemp, who now is a primary challenger in Vernon Jones, who was formerly a Democrat, running against most likely going to be Stacey Abrams. I think if it's Stacey Abrams versus Vernon Jones, Stacey Abrams would be the favorite in that race. If Brian Kemp barely gets out of a primary and he faces against Stacey Abrams could be the favorite there as well. But I don't think that Vernon Jones is going to be able to beat Brian Kemp. I don't actually think he's going to do that well. Maybe I'm going to be wrong about this, and maybe we do see a very resounding result against Brian Kemp, but I'll have to wait until I see some polls. I'll have to wait until I see some approval ratings to see what happens. But as of right now, I think it does slightly tilt towards the Republican Party, but really this race could go either way. And then the final race here, actually the second to last race, is Arizona, where I am kind of doing a similar thing to New Hampshire. It's an open race. We don't know who's going to run, so I'm going to say that the fundamentals, which slightly lean, at least at the gubernatorial level, to the Republican Party, I'm going to give them the slight edge for this race. And then Wisconsin, the last race here, which actually is a flip, to the Republican Party, with Tony Evers being the Democratic candidate. I do think that he is probably going to lose. You've got the gerrymandered legislature, which is really, really against him his entire term as governor. It's really stopped him from getting very much done, and it's made him not too popular either. And while Democrats do have all of these statewide elected positions in Wisconsin, I don't think that it's going to hold. I think that Tony Evers will very, very narrowly lose. Maybe to Scott Walker, maybe to Reince Priebus. We will see what happens. But overall, Democrats will flip. Actually, I don't know if they'll flip any races, to be honest. Actually, I think they could flip New Hampshire. I think they will flip New Hampshire. Republicans will flip Kansas and Wisconsin. But overall, things aren't going to change too much. It'll look more like the presidential level than governor elections we've seen in the past. But overall, Republicans will have 27 governor elections. Democrats will have 23. So, thank you for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.